everyone, I'm Chaz with here at Dice Paradise and BoardGameGeek, and I'm joined by Jacob from Fricks Games, and we are going to be talking about the 5th expansion for Terraforming Mars.
That's right.
Turmoil. So tell me what's going on to cause such turmoil on Mars?
Yeah, so the basic theme of Turmoil is that the corporations are not equal to the human race, but they operate in the world and they are maybe the dominant players, but there's also a lot of local people that are not affiliated with the corporations, and you have all the people on Earth and the governments and nations there. So the theme of this one is that the corporations are part of a bigger story.
Okay.
So this brings in everything outside the corporations, so to speak. And it does that via global events. So you have a global event here, and they will do different things. And actually in the future the technology has gone a little bit further, so you will be able to predict some events. So when something, for example, if you have a separatist movement, that could in time lead to a war on Earth, for example.
Okay. And so this will eventually possibly lead to that one down there?
Exactly. And the moral movement might lead to stronger societies in the future and so on. And so you can prepare for what will happen.
Okay.
A lot of games have events where things just happen.
Right.
But here you can plan a bit ahead, which matches the play style of Terraforming Mars very well. And it also brings a lot of theme into it. And one thing that this moral movement, for example, does is that it adds delegates to the Terraforming Committee. So the Turmoil expansion adds the Terraforming Committee board, where you have 6 different parties that are influencing the committee to decide what policies to impose on the Martian terraforming.
Okay.
So this one, for example, the moral movement is because the Reds gain support. So you have neutral delegates that are added to the correct party.
Okay.
And the first one to get there gets to be party leader.
Okay.
So of course, and then when the year ends or when the generation ends, you see which party is the biggest, and it will have the dominance marker, and that will take over control. So for example, if it looked like this, then this party will take over, and the red policy will become active, and you also get a red bonus. For example, the Reds are the faction that want to preserve Mars, red.
Okay.
So the Reds aren't really communists, they are more environmentalists.
That's a good distinction to make.
While the Greens, they want to radically change the environment.
Okay, and put
to
more,
make it
more
green.
So each one has its own priority that they're pushing for?
Exactly. So when the Reds take power, for example, they will give 1 terraform rating to the one who has done the least to change Mars, the one with least terraform rating. And while they are ruling, every terraform rating that you get, you have to pay 3 extra money for.
Oh, okay.
So while they are in session, while they are ruling, you don't really want to terraform. But you can change, of course, which party is biggest, because every player has a delegate of their own in the lobby. And in the lobby, you can do as an action, you just place one of the delegates in a party. So for example, if you like to build much on Mars, maybe Mars first is your choice. So you can place one here, because it's the biggest ones, it becomes party leader. Okay. And you also have a delegate reserved here, where you can pay 5 to place the delegate. So it's 1 free, and you can pay more to get more. But now this one is the bigger party, so the dominance shifts here. And they will become ruling, unless the blue player really wants the red ones to rule, and they add here. And now they have majority within the party, they become party leader, and they take over the dominance. And if it ends like this, well, then the next year the red ones will be ruling. So for example, so there's a lot of interaction on how to control the Terraforming Committee. Besides the global events, also adding more neutral delegates here. So when you become ruling, you can also become a chairman if you are the party leader of the entering party. Oh. And the rest of the party is emptied. This is a little bit of explanation, but because and then this one becomes the biggest. But when you become the chairman, you also get 1 terraform rating. So that is also a good thing. And the other good thing is that if you have a good influence here, you can also influence the impact of the global event that will occur. So it's quite involved. You have to keep have attention on this one and keep attention on what is coming. in the global events area. And of course, we have new corporations and new project cards as well. And the typical thing with the project cards is that you typically have a new requirement.
Okay.
So you can play the sponsored mohole if the Calvinist party is either ruling or you have 2 delegates in that party. And then they will sponsor your mohole and you get a little bit cheaper project for that.
That's nice how that's incorporated in there.
Yeah, so these project cards are very tied to the mechanics of this expansion. So this is a lot more involved than the previous expansions. It's much richer thematics-wise. It takes a little longer time, but we call it an expert expansion, and I think the theme is more than worth it.
With the ruling party, how often typically in a game does that change?
Every generation, usually, because at the end of generation you just check which one is the biggest, they become ruling.
Okay.
And then you empty that party.
Okay.
So that means that all the others have a head start, so to speak, for next year. But they can of course be, if there are many players who want to support a specific party, they can keep it coming generation after generation as well.
Okay.
But it's more difficult, of course.
Yeah, but by its nature, the way it's designed, it will keep moving and stay dynamic.
Yes.
Interesting, neat. Okay, so these are tied in. Do you have to remove any of the cards from previous expansions when you play or anything?
No, like all other Terraforming Mars expansions, this is modular. You can play it with the base game or with Prelude, with Venus, with colonies and so on. The only thing I would say is that playing it with colonies means that you have even more to keep track of. So it becomes even more involved. So for the first game, I would suggest not playing it together with colonies, just to make it a little bit more digestible.
Makes perfect sense. And where is this in terms of its production and availability, and how much is the price going to be for it?
We already started to send out we had the Kickstarter for Turmoil, and we already started to send it out. So some of the customers already received it.
Excellent.
And we have it here at the fair, and Stronghold Games has it as well, and we have in different languages. So we have it here at the fair. It costs €35. And as I said, we have the Kickstarter, and in the Kickstarter was also included a special promo pack for this expansion and dual-layer player boards. Finally, we made our own. Finally, yeah. So in this promo pack, we also have these at the fair. Okay. Sold separately from Turmoil.
They're separate from the expansion.
Yeah, but we have a bundle price as well.
Okay.
But you have a lot of nice new project cards.
Oh wow!
You have a few crossover global events that you can use together with Colonies and Venus.
Okay.
And you have, of course, a few nice new corporations. For example, an insurance company, where the other players have to pay you income, but you have to pay them if they encounter something bad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really like the thematics of that one.
Yes.
So that's about it. Other than that, it's a lot of theme. You have 35 different global events. You have these 6 different parties, and they each have their own profile. You want to know their profiles?
Real quick, run through them real quick.
Yeah. So Mars 1st they will reward building tags, and when they are ruling, each player will get a seal every time they place a tile on the board.
Okay.
The scientists, of course, reward science tags, but they also have an action that you can pay 10 to get 3 cards. Okay. Everyone can do that when they are ruling. So if you need a lot of cards, maybe scientist is your thing.
All right.
The Unity pays for Venus, Earth, and Jovian tags. Oh. So it's also a little bit of a crossover there. Yeah. And they make titanium worth 1 more when they are ruling. Okay. So that's very interesting for a few people. Yep. The Reds, as we say, they want to stop the terraforming. By contrast, the Calvinists, they want to make terraforming as fast as possible, and usually with heating it up first. So besides rewarding heat production, they also give you option to get cheap energy and heat. Okay. And finally, the green ones, every time you place a green tile, you get 4 money back, and they reward biological tags.
Excellent.
So depending on your strategy, you will have different favorites.
Yes, quite a bit of variety there in the strategy you could take.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you so much for sharing this 5th expansion with us, and I can't wait to see what you have up your sleeve even beyond this. And for you, thanks for watching.